Hi, I'm Steve from SF Marine. So today what I want to talk to you about is preparing a mould to produce a product, as well as what sort of waxes we use and why we use them. So this is a split moulding for the centre console. So this is the front half, which has got some wax on it right now. So this has recently been produced. So now what we have to go on to do is prepare this to make the component that we want to pull out of it. So with any new mould or new component or new plug that you want to produce, you need to prepare the mould with a wax or a release agent as such. So there's multiple products on the market, such as mould release wax or PVA, or you can also use floor wax in some applications, but not really for what we're doing right now. So there's two types of wax that we mainly use, which is this one, which is called mirror glaze, just the manufacturer, as well as this one, which is TR. So the difference between the two of these is the mirror glaze is a standard mould release wax, which we'd apply in the summer or in warmer temperatures. Now this one, which is the TR, is called, or has written on it, high temperature, but ironically I'd say that this has to be used in cool temperatures. This can take several days to go off in cold temperatures, say below 15 degrees, whereas this will still cure and flash off and be able to wax relatively easily within the 20-minute window of what we'd normally expect a release agent to go off in. So to apply this, we apply between, well, a bare minimum of 6 coats on any new product or component or plug, anything you want to produce. Now, if you're a little bit worried or cautious, is the first one can always be a bit tricky, so it never hurts to put more on than not. Then every time that you release a component from the mould, it's good practice to re-wax the mould once. So this will have 6 as a minimum, and then 1 for every component you build out of it. So I'll build 5 consoles. Obviously it's been waxed an additional 5 times, so it's been waxed 11 times in total, which make the process of removing this much easier and simpler. So the things to look for when it's curing is going on, Mr. Miyagi style, wax on, wax off. After 15-20 minutes, depending on humidity, temperature, conditions that you're working in, it will flash off. By flash off, I mean it will have gone off enough that you'll be able to remove it. But what you'll find with this one, because this is a hard wax, because it's a high temperature wax as such, it cures very quickly, but it also cures very hard. So you're actually more against the clock with this than you would be the standard. So to see whether the product's flashed off or not, it's all streaky. You can't really see the finish because obviously it's covered in wax. You can just get your finger and wipe your finger through it. Now, if it wipes and it stays streaky, when you look at the mark you've just made, then it's still curing or not gone off. If you wipe your finger through it and it leaves a clean surface, as in there's not even one particle in that line that you've just made with your finger, then it's flashed. If you leave the hard wax longer than the flash period, then what will happen is it will take you more energy, more time to get it off, but not only that, it will leave a streaky finish on the surface of the product that you're moulding. So its best practice is, I try to do these things in between doing other jobs, because I can do this and go and work on something else and come back and go and do something else and come back. And then it's not a waiting game that you're not stood there all the time. So just come back, I'll wipe my finger through it to check what stage it's at with a flashing, and then remove it after that. So this is pretty much at the flashing stage now. So we can get a standard rag, or you can get wax cloths like detailers would use, or things like that. But from what we get, we just buy 10-20 kilo bag of rags, and then we'll polish it off there. So just a second. So all these rags are just cut up t-shirts, like almost charity shop, what they've given, and then the suppliers have got these and cut them up into whatever they need. So after this, it is just a matter of going around and buffing all the wax off you've had on there. And then while you're doing this, just make sure you get in all these deep little corners and pockets and everything like that, because that's where the wax is going to sit. You might brush over it a little bit easier than what you'd expect. but at the end of the day you need to feel for resistance now. So this is quite rough and a bit tacky as such, but on the polished bit, you know, it's really nice and smooth and agile and works really well. Over time you'll get used to the feeling of this wax under your hands, and you'll feel that I won't have to look, but I can feel where the wax is or where the, you know, what's left on there, and if it needs more polishing. Is really, your eyes are good, but well, as you get older you might need glasses and things like that, and your hands will tell you a lot more than what your eyes can sometimes in the right select situations. So you polish all this off and you'll be left with the gel coat that you had at the start. So once this has been polished off, you probably let this cure. Some people let this cure for several hours to harden. This will look as in one layer, so one layer of harden. It's here nor there in all reality. I mean, I've done ones where in quick succession where I'll polish this off, I'll put another layer on, I'll take it off again, put another layer on, and I can build it up very quickly and get it done, get it moving. And I've never had any issues with it, in the sense of I've never had a mould stick or issues with the mould. Because this is a new mould, I'm going to wax this probably 8 times, maybe 9 if I get a bit of time, because as I say, I'm doing this in between jobs, so it's not a time sensitive thing with actually getting this all waxed and polished. Once it's done, because these things take time, and in reality they take as long as they take. There's no good trying to rush this, there's no trying to cut corners on this, because it will bite you in the arse at the end of the day. So as I say, all products, whether you've made a plug or you're making a component out of a mould, or you're making a new mould off of a component or plug that you've already made, you'll want to do this. So there is one instance where this isn't necessary, and that's if you were to build a mould using melamine timber. So you know, veneer faced timber, you can build moulds and plugs out of them and mould from them. In this case, you do not actually have to use mould release wax, because the surface friction, the surface tension is so low that you'll be able to get it out without any issues, and in some cases you'll